It started with a pumpkina cheap, plastic jack-o'-lantern I'd grabbed at a drugstore 3 Halloweens ago for $9.99. Its flickering bulb cast a goofy glow, its grin harmless, welcoming kids in their superhero costumes. I set it on my porch every October, a quiet nod to tradition in Cedar Hills, a suburban Oregon enclave where conformity was king. Lawns were manicured to perfection, mailboxes identical, houses painted in 3 approved shades of beige. I'm Tom Bradley, 53, a high school history teacher, divorced, no drama. I've lived here 12 years, mowing my lawn on Saturdays, while VYing at neighbors who rarely wave back. I keep to myself, dodging the HOA's watchful gaze. But this year, that pumpkin lit a fuse. On a crisp Tuesday morning, an orange envelope was taped to my mailbox, bold as a warning flare. I expected a reminder for the HOA meeting I always skipped. Instead, it was a violation notice, due law 200 fine for inappropriate seasonal display. Remove the pumpkin within 48 hours or face escalating penalties. Signed by Linda Voss, HOA president, a woman in her late 50s with a penchant for pastel blazers and a voice like a morality sermon. Her walk screamed judgment, her emails started with, "Per my last correspondence." I read the notice 3 times, pulse quickening. Inappropriate? It was a plastic pumpkin, not a political banner or a severed head. I called the HOA office, got voicemail, and left a message. Hours later, a weary assistant, Ellen, called back. "The board deemed your decoration culturally provocative and visually disruptive," she said, robotic. "It's in the Aesthetic Compliance Addendum, page 7, section 14. I laughed, stunned. "It's a pumpkin," she sighed. "Neutral seasonal tone is required." I hung up, pacing my kitchen, anger simmering. This wasn't a mistake I'd felt personal. That afternoon, I stood on my porch, rereading the notice, when Mr. Hensley, my 84-year-old neighbor, shuffled over, came tapping, his tweed cap smelling of coffee. "Pumpkin trouble?" he grinned, eyeing the envelope. "You too?" I asked. He nodded. "Last Christmas, they fined me due law 500 for a Santa statue." Said it projected excessive cultural specificity. I blinked. "Santa's from the North Pole." He shrugged. "Linda called it divisive." We stared at the pumpkin, its grin mocking us. I started noticing things. Jenny, the single mom down the street, scrubbed her son's chalk art off their driveway. The young couple, Mike and Lisa, removed their hanging ferns. Mrs. Carter's wind chimes vanished. The neighborhood wasn't changing with vandalism, it was suffocating in silence, fear creeping in. I dug deeper. Linda had issued 15 fines that month. Overly vibrant, garden lights, emotionally suggestive, lawn gnomes, even auditory discord, from a porch radio. This wasn't about rules, it was control. And now, she targeted my pumpkin. That night, staring at the pumpkin's flicker, I made a vow. If Linda wanted a fight over a Dula 9.99 decoration, I'd give her one. The next morning, I called the HOA again, but the real spark came when Mr. Hensley knocked, clutching a crumpled citation. "They fined me Dula 400 for a naughty VY scene," he said, easing into my kitchen chair. "Called it religiously ambiguous." I stared. "Jesus was born in Bethlehem," he chuckled darkly. "Not according to Linda." He showed me a folder of 6 fines, one for a flag deemed patriotically unbalanced, another for a lawn labeled aesthetically deceptive. "She's not just strict," he said. "She's unhinged." I started walking the neighborhood, seeking answers. Jenny admitted the HOA called her son's chalk stars psychologically destabilizing. Another neighbor was fined for a threatening, welcome mat that said, "Boo." Each story clarified it. Linda wasn't enforcing bylaws, she was reshaping Cedar Hills into her sterile VY shown. Everything shifted at the Cedar Hills yard sale, an October ritual where neighbors sold old lamps and ate cider. I went to observe Linda among her flock. Her booth was pristine, flanked by pastel tablecloths, a "Welcome to order" sign looming. Behind it, Linda, hair in a severe bun, blazer crisp, presided over a display of ceramic garden gnomes, dozens, some smiling, some scowling, a few wielding tiny pitchforks. Two, I swear, were anatomically detailed. They stood in a battle formation, like a ceramic militia. I froze, equal parts fascinated and horrified. She caught my eye and smiled a cold, knowing smirk. "Admiring my guardians?" she asked, voice syrupy. I didn't respond. "They have personalities," she continued, gesturing to a gnome with a scroll. "That's Cornelius. He detects unauthorized sentiments." My skin crawled. "They keep the neighborhood balanced," she said, her smile tightening. I nodded, heart pounding, and left. I'd entered a suburban nightmare. That night, I couldn't shake her words. Balanced? As if we were one rogue pumpkin away from anarchy. Her gnomes weren't decor, they were totems of control. I didn't want revenge, I wanted truth. Who was Linda Voss, beyond the blazers and fines? Enter Nate, 17, hoodie-clad, the son of HOA treasurer Paul Reed. I met him behind the clubhouse, where he vaped and sketched in a worn notebook. "You're Tom, right?" he asked, voice low. "Dad says you've got Linda spooked." I raised an eyebrow. "Spooked?" He grinned. "The pumpkin thing. She's obsessed. She's got a locked cabinet in the clubhouse office, files on everyone, even your ex. My ex, Claire, had left 4 years ago." "What kind of files?" Nate leaned closer. "Names, photos, notes. She calls them resident profiles. Dad's not allowed near it. He'd seen it once, unlocked by mistake, folders labeled lawn violations, Tier 4 sentiment flags, emotional deviance. Then he dangled a key. This opens the storage room. Get her out, and I'll let you in." We waited 3 days, me playing normal, smiling at neighbors, sipping bad coffee at an HOA Unity hour. Then, a sprinkler malfunction forced Linda out, her voice barking, "Water breach!" over the loudspeaker. Nate texted, "Now." The clubhouse was empty, just pamphlets and a framed photo of Linda beside the Code of Serenity. Nate unlocked the office, a sterile cube with a desk, a dented cabinet, and a calendar marked Purity Audit Day. He pointed to the bottom drawer. "Her private stuff." I opened it, heart racing. Folders spilled out. Porch infractions, visual chaos reports, suspected ideological drift. Then, a red leather diary, old and worn, an embossed gnome glaring from its corner. No label, just personal. I opened it. The first page read, "They think I hide, but the gnomes see all." Nate whispered, "She's nuts." I read on. It wasn't a diary, it was a manifesto. Dated 7 years back, the entries were meticulous, written in sharp cursive that gouged the paper. "Resident or a log, emotional spectrum. My name. Tom Bradley, murky ochre, harbors latent defiance, likely via seasonal decor. Jenny. Fuchsia haze, maternal instability, high risk of expressive case. Mr. Hensley. Faded slate, patriotic fixation, monitor near flags." Each neighbor had a color, a judgment, a profile. She'd log dreams. Community cats emit erratic VY Bess. Solution: standardize with HOA approved tabbies. A sketch showed identical cats in collars labeled compliant. She ranted about my Halloween candy. No allergen labels, possible dietary subversion. She'd watched me last October, noting my unregulated sugar distribution. Lawnmowers were ranked by psychic resonance. Toro was defiantly masculine. Wind chimes were tonal threats. Above 6 Hz. A pool map, drawn in red crayon marked impurity zones, where Jenny's son had released chaotic energy. Then the gnomes, the Council of 12. 12 sketches, each with a name and role. Cornelius, Sentiment Overseer, flagged my pumpkins. Mocking Grin. Agnes, Symmetry Guardian, warned of rebellious flag tilts. Victor, Order Enforcer, loomed with a shovel, captioned Acts when others warn. She'd scripted dialogues. Cornelius, Tom's pumpkin persists. Cornelius, it taunts. Fine it. She described gnome dreams. Cornelius, giant, glowing, pointed at Hensley, unrepentant patriot. Find him at dawn. She believed the gnomes guided her, detecting impure VY brat ions from uneven hedges or bright planters. She'd placed them in triangles around homes to drain resistance, once targeting Jenny's roses for ideological decay. My porch chair, angled 7 degrees west, was subversive. Victor was deployed. I remembered that gnome at her booth, half buried, eyes piercing. The final section chilled me. Psychic resistance protocols. Linda believed some neighborsm included were shielding against her gnomes. She planned open confrontation, via citations to reinforce spiritual dominion. A sketch of my house labeled my pumpkin a beacon of subconscious rebellion. This wasn't obsession, it was a crusade, bylaws as a front for her ceramic tyranny. I closed the diary, hands shaking. No court would buy this, but the neighborhood might. Exposing her meant war not just with Linda, but with the silence that let her thrive. The last page read, Cornelius grows restless. Tom knows too much. Victor demands action. My skin prickled. She was watching. I didn't sleep, the diary's weight like a bomb on my table. I couldn't stay silent, I'd be complicit. So, I scanned every page, gnome dialogues, aura charts, pool maps. I printed 40 copies of the worst entries, stapled them with a note. See who rules your lawn. At dusk, I slipped them onto every doorstep, a reverse citation. Then, I posted scans on the Cedar Hills Facebook group, captioning, This is Linda Voss's diary. This is how she judges us. Read. Share. Speak. I tagged her and hit post. For 20 minutes, nothing. Then, the dam broke. Comments flooded. She fined my bench for angular descent. She called my lawn chromatically hostile. Is this a cult? She said my gnome clashed with her chakra grid. Within hours, 300 reactions, 200 comments. Neighbors quoted entries like gospel. A meme of Cornelius captioned, Your VYB offends me. When VY ral. Linda stayed silent, her absence louder than any defense. By day 2, sightings began, Linda peering from her blinds, standing frozen at her mailbox, dragging a wagon of gnomes at midnight. Neighbors called it Phantom HOA syndrome. The pressure built. An email announced a special HOA meeting, unsigned but reeking of Linda. Friday night arrived, the clubhouse packed, air electric. Printed diary pages circulated, some highlighted, one taped to a gnome labeled Traitor. I stood by Mr. Hensley, his cane tapping like a war drum. Jenny, arms crossed, glared. At 7 p.m., Linda entered, lavender blazer crisp, eyes bloodshot, carrying a binder. She set a gnome Victor on the podium, its shovel gleaming. The crowd hushed. There's been a violation of my privacy, she began, voice shrill. Misinterpretations. I've ensured harmony, symmetry, order. Someone shouted. What about Cornelius? Laughter erupted. And Victor? You banned my kid's chalk. Linda slammed the podium. Enough! You think safety is free? Order takes vigilance. She lifted Victor. This is discipline. When your lawns rebelled, he guided me. A man, Greg, stood. Linda, you need help. She spun on him. You, with your 940 Hz chimes? Cornelius flagged you. Mr. Hensley rose. I move to vote her out. Jenny seconded. Linda laughed, manic. You can't. Greg held up a clipboard. Bylaws allow emergency removal by majority vote. You called this meeting. Her face paled. A vote was called. 62 hands rose. Linda froze, clutching Victor. You're breaking the balance, she whispered. They warned me. She raised Victor high, then dropped him. He shattered, ceramic shards scattering. She fled, the crowd erupting in cheers, tears, high fives. Mr. Hensley wiped his eyes. Best show since Watergate. Jenny hugged me. We did this. The vote was unanimous. Linda was ousted. Greg, now acting president, voided all fines, mandating board review for future ones. A sheet cake shaped like a jack-o'-lantern appeared, frosted with chaotically perfect. Mr. Hensley, a former baker, winked. Don't tell. The clubhouse became a party. Orange lights, inflatable witches, a speaker blasting. Sweet Caroline. Jenny's son, Tim, drew a chalk dinosaur on the hedge. No one stopped him. At midnight, we watched Ghostbusters projected on a sheet, no citations, just freedom. My pumpkin returned, flanked by inflatable gnomes, one with Linda's face captioned, Order overthrown. It went VY-RAL. 3 weeks later, a cream envelope arrived, no stamp, my name in tight cursive. Inside. Tom, you think you've won, but I've sown seeds. Watch your yard. L. I laughed but kept it. I installed cameras, not from fear but caution. Linda's Con VY tie-in wasn't logical, it was zealous. On Sunday, I found a round stone by my gate, painted with a red dot. A prank? A sign? Jenny found a broken gnome in her bin, one eye sealed. Mr. Hensley framed a note from his windshield. Still too chaotic. We weren't scared, we were VY Gallant. Linda vanished a month later. Her house emptied, a van hauling crates of gnomes, one in a bag marked sacred. Rumor said she joined another HOA, or started a pure commune. Her mailbox held a note for the new owners. Respect the lawn. It watches. No one kept it, but we remembered. Jenny became HOA president, declaring a Halloween bash that buried Linda's legacy. My pumpkin stood proud, a symbol of defiance. Cedar Hills bloom chalk art, wind chimes, mismatched planters. The HOA matured, rules rooted in safety, not control. Debates lingered, was exposing Linda's diary justice or invasion? Did we liberate or VY lifey? My stone sits in a jar labeled, No Mourning. Halloween is now. Free pumpkin night. With t-shirts, cookies, and a story kids retell. The HOA that went mad, the diary that broke it, and the pumpkin that won. I teach history, but now I'm on the Vibe Committee. Our rule? Smile free. No fines for joy. If a gnome whispers, we say, not here.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.